This isn't going to be long, but I just wanted to take a few minutes to review with you inverted pyramids, right? So we left inverted pyramid land and we visited feature writing land, and now we're back in inverted pyramid land. And that's really important in a press release because remember that your press release or news release, they're called kind of the same thing, different times, will go to the media. So the media representatives don't have a lot of time. So your lead really does need to be engaging and filled with information. And remember, your headline comes from the lead, right? So you're going to write your headline after you write your story. Don't be tempted to write the headline first, because what people sometimes do is think, well, I said it in the headline, so I don't have to say it in the story, and that's wrong. The headline comes from the lead, comes from the story. So there's going to be repetition between the headline and the top of the story, and it should be that way because the headline represents what a person is going to see in the story, right? And so you get, in your press release, you get to stretch the width of the page for a one-line headline. So you should be able to include a lot in there. We need to know who's speaking, where she's speaking, the group she's speaking to, and a little bit about what she's going to talk about, because that's the interesting part, right? That's the intriguing part. That's going to make me decide, do I want to go as a guest? Do I want to buy a ticket? Do I want to bring somebody? And it helps me to know what I'm getting ready to go and spend my time doing, right? So that's what you want to do. And so you want to think about your lead. And so I wanted to just run over a few things with you now. First of all, you're going to have some of your basic information here, where it's going to be, when it's going to be, how much a ticket costs, if I need more information, where can I go, those kinds of things, right? And so your story is called an advance, which means that the day and the time it starts are kind of important for you to have in the lead, because it's something I need to plan to go to. Often we write about events that have already occurred. So the time and the day are important, but we might not put what time a meeting starts if we're covering the meeting and it's already happened, because we can't go back and go to that thing, right? So remember, you never start with the when or the where. Think about your first 8 to 10 words. Have you begun to tell the story, right? And so think about all that you've learned through all the modules about introducing people, her title before her name, right? You want to capitalize that. You don't need any commas there. And so this gives you a little bit about her background. She is now, what she's doing now is the most important part that you're going to get at the top of the story, right? She's president and CEO of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. That's her position right now. That gives her the voice to speak to these issues to the group, to the Dillville Chamber of Commerce, right? And so that's her title. Later in the story, you can put some of her other credentials, because I think that also gives her message weight. It gives her authority. It gives her, adds to her integrity and why it is that she is going to speak about this, right? Now, what I have here, this is the title of what she's going to talk about. So this is the crux. It is the kind of the definition of what she's going to speak. And so that needs to be high up in your story, in the lead. You can put a little bit in the headline. You don't have to put quotation marks around it if you don't want to. That's okay. But that is what she's speaking about, the necessity of competition to America's future, especially in business, right? And so what I have here too are some comments that she made at a recent appearance in Good Morning America TV news show. And so this kind of shows what her position is on these. And so these are things she said in the past. If you want to attribute those to her and tell us where she said those, right? So somewhere in your story, again, the top of the story is going to tell us who's speaking about what, when, and where, right? And so then we can go on at some point in the story to tell you a little bit about her position. Now, you don't have to use all of this, but I wanted you to use at least one of her statements. You can paraphrase it. You don't have to put in quotation marks. You can if you want. Just remember all the things that we learned about correctly punctuating and attributing quotations. You want to follow this from now on. Now, those of you are going to go on and learn, if you go on to learn a little bit more about PR writing, this is just kind of dipping our toe in the water. My PR colleagues are going to really fill you in on how press releases work and the purpose of them, right? So this is a little bit different from a traditional news story in that we are promoting our event. However, don't use promotional type lingo. That is going to turn off the media representative who gets this press release. You want to write a straight up, really well done inverted pyramid story, because if you don't, if you misspell things, if you don't punctuate right, if you miss AP style, that's going to go in the garbage can because your credibility is in the garbage can, right? Because the media people are looking for someone who knows the business. And so that's what you're going to show them here. So go ahead and do that. Make sure you reach out to me, text me, call me, email me if you have any questions. And I'm looking forward to reading what you write.